Hello, everyone. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you. If you're just popping on with me, go ahead and say hi, maybe share where you're joining from. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and give me a hashtag replay so I know who was here and who checked out the video. Hopefully, I can see your comments on my page. I don't always get the opportunity to do that. Let's check it out. Okay. Well, welcome anyway. Give people just a moment to sort of hop on, and I'll ask you to share if you feel to. A little hello in the chat, maybe how you're doing today. Are we excited to be here? And I will share that I'm very excited to be here. I'm also a little bit nervous. And I think, hi, Rosalie, I'm a little bit nervous for a couple of different reasons. One, it's because I feel this topic really, really matters, and it really, really matters right now for whatever reason. And so, because this topic matters so much and it's so important, of course, there's a human element of me that feels a sense of pressure, you know? There is, whenever you're speaking about something like this, that I believe is so core to the foundation of people's lives, so core to people's process of ascension, so core to people's relationships, so core to people's relationships with money, so core to people's relationships with themselves, with God or source, if you will, with all of creation, with their own power, like something that matters this fucking much. You know, there can be this sense of feeling like I need to get it right, you know? Another reason is that people have very strong opinions on the topic of masculine and feminine energy. I don't know if you've noticed that. People have a lot of big feelings about it. You know, people are very attached to specific ideologies about it. People are sharing a lot on the internet about it. And I think this has led to actually beautiful things and also a lot of confusion for individuals, right? And and certainly some distortion. And you may have been in the camp where you're just throwing your hands up at the whole thing and saying that you're sick of the topic, right? Maybe not, but it was my projection prior to deciding that I am going to do this live stream, to saying yes to the call to do this live stream. It was my projection onto all of you that everyone is sick of hearing about it, that nobody needs one more voice in the chorus, right? That maybe you already have too much information, there's too much, you've learned too much, everyone's overstuffed, and so why would I share that? But I have received so many reflections more recently about why this is important. External reflections from the people in my life, from my clients who I work with very closely on these themes. And of course, from the divine, from my own guidance, that this is very important. And it's important, I think, for me to share my voice and my energy around it. So some of what I share may contradict directly other things that you have heard or that you believe. You are free always to take or leave anything that I offer. All that I can offer you, and the only place that I can ever speak from, is my own experience and my own channel. And that is a plan to speak from today. And if that impacts you in a way that feels activating, that feels illuminating, that feels supportive or surprising or beneficial for you in any way, wonderful. And if not, It's okay. No hard feelings. Move along. But someone reminded me today, actually, because there is so much noise around it, because everyone has so much information about it, because it is such a hot topic, maybe this is why you need to speak on it. It is on people's minds and in their hearts. And the truth is, this has been a core foundation of my spiritual journey and my own practice and my own process for over a decade. It is a core foundation, actually, of almost everything that I do in my work, whether I am working with people on their business, on creating their own unique multidimensional modalities, on their relationships, on their relationship to money, right? All of these different places, this is core to the work that I do. It's just that I tend to mostly share it inside of those spaces. I share about it very frequently in the Rapid Shift Collective, which is my long-term group container, my inner circle, right? This it's like anyone who knows me and knows my work knows that this is foundational, and yet I haven't wanted to bring it out. And I'm grateful that I said yes and that all of you said yes to joining me. Some of you know the way that I work. I never plan exactly what I'm going to say. I'm very feminine in the way that I receive and offer transmissions. What I will share is there is a teeny bit of structure that I have for you. I'm going to be sharing and speaking a little bit here with you to begin. And then we're going to go into an activation on inner divine union, which is essentially the meeting and the relationship of those polarities of divine masculine and divine feminine within you. Right? So we are going to be actually experiencing an activation, and all of my activations also have a clearing component, right? And so you will be able to have a direct energetic experience of what I am talking about. And this is very, very important to me, that it isn't just information, that it isn't just words, that it isn't just one more thing to fill your mind with, because that's not where we find truth. That's not where we experience truth, right? So that is how today is going to go. Oh, so good to see all of you guys hopping on. Hello, hello. Hi, Hannah, Angela, Latoya, Steffi, Maria, Phineas, Maddie. So happy to see you guys here. Okay. So as I mentioned, inner divine union is it's one phrase that you could use to describe that polarity dynamic that is internal and that is occurring within an individual embodiment, right? This will not be a conversation about polarity dynamics within relationships, not chiefly. There are a lot of people who teach on this topic, polarity dynamics within relationship, and I see the benefit in that. This is beautiful work. There are people who devote their entire lives and their entire Facebook pages and their entire careers to speaking about how this shows up in a partnership. And this is not where I'm going to lead you today. But what I will say is that if you think that there is no relationship between that internal relationship that you experience and whatever imbalance or distortion or whatever harmony you're experiencing there within you and what you experience externally, relationships, I would have to tell you that I very, very much disagree. That hasn't been my experience, and that's not my perspective. So just to share a little bit of my story, as with many of us, my journey here, my journey of reconnecting to these polarities within and unifying them within my own heart field began through a relationship, a catalytic relationship. And there are so many of these soul connections that are happening on planet Earth right now, that have happened, and that will continue to happen to wake us up to this work that we each need to do internally, right? And so I got into a relationship, this would have been about 2012. I met a counterpart, right? You could say a divine masculine counterpart, a masculine counterpart, whatever. And it was an incredibly activating, incredibly spiritually charged connection. I mean, it's there are no words to describe what that was for me. And it was also one of the most difficult experiences that I've ever had. And those of you who know my story know that that's saying a lot, right? It was one of the most confusing experiences that I've ever had. This human being carried a lot of very pure divine masculine codes, right? Had many lifetimes in masculine form. And I happen to carry a lot of very pure divine feminine codes, very Sophionic codes, and have had many, many lifetimes, many incarnations in feminine form. And both of us had that very beautiful, exalted expression, and we could meet in that place. And we each also carried a lot of distortion, right? Ancestral lineage stuff, collective stuff, past life stuff. And how it played out externally was that I expressed a lot of distortion within the feminine, right? He expressed a lot of that distorted masculine coding. And when I'm using this terminology, by the way, you know, just to kind of define terms, when I say distorted, I mean anything that isn't highest truth. Okay. So there were ways that we acted out these distortions that were extremely painful, just devastating for, I believe, both of us. Certainly for me, I can speak to myself here. But what it did was it woke me the fuck up. And it woke me up to dynamics that I was playing out not only inside of the relationship, but inside of me. It was like, why do I feel like this person? First of all, why do I feel like my relationship to this person so closely mirrors the relationship I saw between my mother and father? Why am I acting like her? Why is he acting like him? And why does it so closely mirror the relationship that I have with myself? All of that toxicity, all of that imbalance, all of that fear, all of that, all of that pain, all of that longing. I'm sure no one else on the live stream has ever gone through that. Just kidding. These are some of the most beautiful soul contracts that you could ever possibly have. And I'm saying that in full awareness and in honoring of how challenging these can be. But it is because of that relationship that everything good in my life that I've created today exists. It is because of what that woke up in me and what that led me to. So what that led me to is, you know, a couple of years of trying to navigate this, what is actually going on, finding very little help with mainstream therapy and psychology. At the time, I wasn't really aware of coaching, you know, this was like 2013, right? But mainstream psychology and self-help and up communities I was connected to, therapy, I wasn't getting what I needed. And I found a mentor. His name was Mel Brand, and you know, he's just there is no other being like Mel. He and his wife, Nicole, were a pair of twin flames. And Mel's entire life's work, you know, was to assist individuals who were going through an ascension process involving these experiences inside of unions that were confusing and chaotic and felt like, I don't know what the hell is going on. This was his entire mission and what he did. He was in his 70s by the time that I met him. And he actually transitioned to the other side in 2020. And I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to work with him. He really helped me to make sense of what was going on. And one of the things that he helped me with was to connect with my inner child for the very first time. I started to understand that there was inner child wounding coming up inside of this connection, right? The way that he did, inner child work or whatever that work was always through the heart center, through an activated, open, and awakened heart center. And he did a lot of techniques and taught me a lot of techniques to activate and open the heart center, to drop into that space, and then to connect with the inner child, right? Additionally, he introduced me to my own inner divine feminine and my own inner divine masculine. And he helped me to understand that what was reflecting outward in this experience in my life was the catalyst for me to heal and harmonize that relationship internally. Now, when I'm saying this, I'm not saying that we shouldn't want to experience that outside of ourselves, or we don't need that outside of ourselves, or anything like that. But it has been my experience that the development of balanced harmonics between masculine and feminine energies within us, and being able to access the point where those two energies meet in their highest expression in the heart center, is the key to literally fucking everything in life and to creating exactly what we want in partnership and beyond. Think about the power of creation. Many people attribute creation only to feminine energy. And of course, feminine energy is quite creative, right? Creativity can be very feminine. It's fluid, it's flowing, it's that fertile, expressive, right, current. That's very feminine. But if you think about divine creation, the energy that brings forth worlds, can feminine energy do it on its own? Can masculine energy do it on its own? Absolutely not. I mean, you need to look further than human biology. It is where sperm and egg meet that creation of life occurs. That point of connection, that is what births worlds, and that is your nexus of power. That is your power. And here is why this is so important, to be speaking about this, to be discovering this right now. If that is your nexus of power, and there are forces who are invested in disconnecting you from that power, what does our world look like? Well, it looks a little bit exactly like it does right now. there has been a concentrated effort to separate each of us from our true and organic divine feminine coding, our true and organic divine masculine coding, and the codes of divine union, because it is that fucking powerful. Where divine union exists, we cannot be controlled. You see? And so there has been a vested effort, and still is a concerted effort, to separate us from these true codes of divine feminine and masculine union. I would even go so far as to say that there has been a war that has been incited. Many years ago, it was given to me that a big part of my mission is to end the war on planet Earth between the masculine and the feminine. In order to do that, I took on a lot of feminine rage. And I experienced a lot of the expression, the darkest expression of what that war can look like, you know. But that's all over the map. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The way that we are being encouraged to divide from each other, the way that we are being encouraged to have this sort of internal war within us, this push and pull. And I have to say it. I have to say this. A lot of the teaching that's online right now, if you feel into the frequency of it, does nothing but encourage that war. Where we are at war within ourselves, and where we are at war with each other, where we are blaming, where we are shaming, not only each other, but ourselves, where we are pushing, where we are expecting, where we are believing that we are not, where we are in fear, where we are in lack, where we are in judgment about who and what we really fucking are, because it is not something that we have to become. It is not something outside of ourselves, and it is not something that someone can give us a roadmap for that is intellectual or based upon our behavior. And yet, this is what we do. We take some of these teachings that are so beautiful and pure, and we apply them through these filters, or maybe they are already applied through these filters, and it becomes a fucking checklist. And it becomes one more thing we have to do, and one more way we have to measure up, and one more piece of evidence that we're not worthy, we're not powerful, and we're not deserving of love. Because as a woman, I'm too much in my masculine. Because as a man, I'm not masculine enough. I have to learn how to provide containment for a woman. I have to learn how to be masculine. You don't have to learn how to be masculine, no. And you don't have to learn how to be feminine. Why? Because you already fucking are that. Like at your core, you contain these original codes. It is just that they have been distorted, they've been hidden from you, their development hasn't been encouraged. Instead, all kinds of other weird shit has been encouraged, but those things are actually not you. Those are patterns that you took on from your great, 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 great grandmother. Stop punishing yourself for not being that which you actually are. I believe that there is a divine feminine aspect of God. Some people call this Sophia. And I believe that there is a divine masculine aspect of God or source energy. And I believe that there is something that is beyond that, yet contains it. And controversial opinion incoming, you are God. And so, as such, you are both masculine and feminine. It is who and what you are. You do not have to work at it. Interesting. The light just changed in here. I don't know if you guys saw that. You do not have to become it. You only have to activate and remember it. And it is very, very important that we do so. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and look at your comments here. I've been on a bit of a rant. Here we go. Yes, the unlearning leaves you with the truth, which you can embrace. I 100% agree. There is a lot of profit in war. That's right, babe. Oh, it's so good to see you here. Laughing at some of these. Right. Yes, stop judging yourself. There are people who have come to my partner simply because he is my partner and because potentially they sense that he holds a lot of true divine masculine coding and embodies that, and want to ask him how to teach them how to be a man. Or women want him to teach their men how to be a man. And maybe you can share your response in the comments, honey, but it's like he's like, well, there's your fucking problem to start. There's your problem. When we are striving and we are trying to prove and we are trying to become, we're not in it. We're not. This goes for the feminine as well. And of course, just so that you know, and for your mind to understand this, I am not saying that everyone should be expressing a specific balance or a how do I put this? I'm not saying that what this looks like when you have balanced harmonics within yourself on a relative scale, right? Because this is not about perfection. I'm not saying that what that looks like is just that you don't ever express polarity. Absolutely not, But it has its expression inside of different containers in a way that is harmonious and that is aligned for you. Okay. Moving ahead. So one of the, do I want to talk about that? No, I do not. Here's what I want to do. I actually want to ask, I will take a few questions I want to ask for questions. There are many guardians and beings of light around me who are interested in your questions. So I'm being prompted to ask for questions. We're going to take a few questions, and then I'm going to go into the activation and transmission for you. Being God, not controversial. I mean, it is. It is to many people. You know, I was on a call with someone the other day and I was absolutely floored that this incredibly divine feminine, powerful being who I know from many lifetimes within priestesshood traditions and who is, you know, very much a part of the Sophionic tradition, did not know consciously that there was a feminine aspect of God, because this person had been raised in a Christian, you know, environment. And so I went into a whole discussion with her on how the temples were intentionally destroyed, how there has been a smear campaign thousands of years long to hide and diminish and make us forget divine Sophia. And when we do this, we are cutting off, it's like cutting off our legs as a society. We become crippled as a society, and that is exactly what has happened. And there's a lot of beings who identify as feminine actually also want to blame the masculine for this. I wouldn't necessarily characterize it that way, and I think that men suffer too. Like, I think we all suffer because of this. And it isn't that we are glorifying the true masculine at the expense of the true feminine. Do you think that the true masculine would ever fucking let that happen? Never. It is a bastardization of masculine energy that is running the world and that we're all encouraged to abide by. And we are starving for the feminine. This is why there's so many beings who are connected to these lineages popping up right now, talking about it, speaking about it, teaching about it, transmitting about it. Because that's part of what's required to correct the imbalance. But additionally, divine masculine energy must rise. And how do we actually do this again? If we who are connected to the feminine and or are embodied as feminine in this lifetime, diminish the masculine, do not have space for the masculine, mistrust the masculine, hate the masculine, fear the masculine, externally or internally, if we blame the masculine, well, we're going to stay crippled. Our creative power will remain removed from us. There's a lot of women who need to hear that. And believe me, I'm speaking as someone who has experienced some of the worst types of abuses that, have been perpetrated against feminine beings, you know, on this planet. Like, it is our work to transmute the rage that we have around that, the pain that we have around that, the mistrust, the hatred. And it is the same, for the masculine, okay? Mm. All right, questions. What does not trusting or hating the masculine look like internally, I mean? Well, for some women, it actually can look like a pushing away of masculine energy entirely. And this is really funny. I was having a conversation with someone also earlier today around, because there's this idea that if we want to manifest a partner, right? If any of you wants to manifest a partner, a lot of times the advice that is given is that you must be in your feminine. You must be in your soft feminine all the time. This is the words that she used, right? Like your soft feminine, right? I don't disagree entirely in the sense that I believe the opposite, because yes, it is important for you to be able to be in your feminine energy. But part of being in that feminine energy means being receptive to the masculine, which means you're not pushing masculine energy away in any form. You're not pushing your internal masculine away and saying, I just have to be in my feminine all the time. You see? So if you say that you are not that, that can be part of what it looks like. If you resist that in the form of action, if you resist your own forward moving energy, if you resist having boundaries because you think that's bad, those can all be symptoms, right? Okay. If Sophia is the feminine, what's her masculine counterpart? Some would say Christ. Sophia Christ. Okay. I see your message, sweetie. I think the best thing to do is to go into the activation. So it'll be interesting to see how the energy shifts. I've been in a very particular frequency giving this training. Sometimes for those of you who are in the Rapid Shift Collective, you know that sometimes I'll be transmitting in a particular energy and then we'll drop into the activation and the energy will be totally different. So it'll be interesting to see, what that is like today. But once again, I want to give you access. I want to give you access to the beautiful, powerful, divine love that you are, that is internal union, in any way that I can, in accordance with your highest interest. And so all of you will experience this portion a little bit differently. Okay, I'm just going to give a little spiel before I dive in. As I mentioned, there is typically a clearing component in my activations. And so What this means is that you might experience detox symptoms. You might experience some physical sensations. Sometimes people get a little bit nauseated or something like this. Um, you may also experience emotional sensations. I may be clearing something and then, you might feel really angry or you might start to cry. All of this is completely normal, totally normal. But I always mention, if you are not in a state where you feel like you can handle this, want to, uh, you know, weather this should it come up, or have resources to weather that, and you're at choice not to receive it. I really ask people to take responsibility for themselves and their own well-being, right? And so if you feel you're not stable enough to handle something like that, you might want to hop off. Otherwise, know that it may not happen for you. It doesn't happen for everyone, but that can be a very normal component of the process. And you might feel other things that feel really beautiful. Sometimes people feel chills, heat, cold. You might feel things just moving in your body or in your energy field. You might see things, you might sense things. Um, just be open to what the experience is. You will hear me making sounds. I use my voice primarily, as well as my hands, my energy, my intent to clear and shift certain things out of your field and to activate certain things within your field, to activate dormant DNA, to activate what I see as like lines of code. It's almost like computer code inside of your system that needs to be lit up and activated. Um, yeah. So with that, let's go ahead and drop in if you're still with me. So taking a moment to close your eyes and just drop into the stream of your breath. You can sit, you can lie down, and you can stand if you want to listen while you're walking around or whatever. That's okay. Just know that it's often best and you can receive best when you're in a quiet and still place. But whatever it is you're doing, I want you to just set the intention here to receive that which is in your highest interest to receive from this activation. Mhm. You might be able to feel or see or sense or know the presence of so many supportive beings around you and energies around you who love you unconditionally and who are here to assist you in remembering, in creating a portal of remembrance for your inner divine masculine and divine feminine and the frequency of their union. We're calibrating the heart here. We have dragon energy coming in to assist. Just setting the intention to release any fear, any doubt that you're carrying with you in this moment. Ooh. See, your intention is so powerful. That just shifted so much. Oh, wow. There's a frequency of neglect here. So, first, releasing any guilt that you felt for neglecting or mistreating any aspect of yourself. You didn't know any better. Forgive yourself. Becoming open for that which has been hidden away, sequestered away into secret basements and dark caverns to be revealed in your heart now. Just becoming willing. Bringing into the light that which has been hidden. Arashish, Konshueshaye, Aranashish, Konshueshaye, Akayanshish, Koeshishirun, Oenisheshayin, Ayenisheshayun, Roen, Rayen, Arakuin, Kayemeshim, Oe, Raam, Ayenu, Okir, Riana Eshum. Okay. And here we're going to clear bitterness, resentment, and blame. This may be, this is primarily ancestral. So this may be from the masculine towards the feminine, vice versa, or both. For some of you, one will be more sort of active and alive than others, but be open to the blame, the resentment, the bitterness that you carry, not even being yours, not being something you need to carry with you. This is for harms that were done before you existed in your current physical form. Moving that ancestral influence out now. There's nothing to forgive. Mm. Yeah, that does not need to be played out through you anymore. This is your life, not theirs. Nia ama aene o e ni ae are e shum clearing walls of separation, mending separation. There's hurt on both sides. Recognize that there is hurt on both sides, and so walls have been created. For some of you, this plays out in different sides of your body, different sides of your energy field. They are disconnected because there is wounding on both sides. There are walls between them, gently and lovingly dissolving those walls in accordance with your highest and best across all planes, times, dimensions, and levels of consciousness now. Now there is space for love. There's nothing to fear. Weaving gently, reconnection. So beautiful, that energy that's coming through. There is a cautiousness. It feels like
If you've ever seen two 13-year-olds who are nervous on the playground, who like each other, that's the energy. Know that it is safe and it is safe to proceed with caution. Mhm. We have all been fed the lie that we cannot trust love, when in truth it is the only trustworthy thing. It is safe to trust love. It is safe to trust love. And you are that. Mm. Reconnecting you to your creative power through this energy of divine union. Ia i hui. Ai she am. Ia hai. Ia ne ia am. Ue mi aran. Eyam. These codes are yours. Eyam. This power is yours. Eyam. To command. Eyam ayu. Eyam. To steward creation in love. To parent your creation. Okay, these are the ancient codes. Strong root activation. Hueasha ne ananae are e kong kue mare ish. Remember, It was never lost. It has never been lost. You know the way. The oldest love story ever told. You remember. For Source to experience its own love again and again. It split itself and vowed to find itself. again and again and again. Nayashan aye anike oemi. Do not be afraid of yourself. Ayeshin ayekum kame oekum ayen enin. Do not be afraid of yourself. Wenyar ayen ayesho me kunkuin. For fear of the feminine is fear of the self. Wishoni ayen akuena inyara. Fear of masculine is fear of the self. Kui ane ero oin aena. Do not be afraid of that which you are. Ayashan ayanukim Koen erak kayan eke ereksheri ua shuno kua eko koa une ero unkoe nyanan koe nyanan koe nyanan koe omo ore ishon uin arkoe ane erkom Hueane hare ya weni yarakan weni hai kuyanai hoenor oni arashkan uri akoenir Hoenuia raam ean kunkuener. Weyor niana kayener ayen koeshina yenekim koen niarek kiaran kayeni hueshun nyashan ayener ayekor oren yan. Yuan, Naine, Kiayuan, Aene, Nyoyeyush, Nyan, Hae, Noini, Kaya, Nyoshni Krea Kuam. As we close, taking a moment to notice what you sense and feel in your body and in the field around you. It's very common to sense movement, and that movement may continue. Knowing that whatever the experience that you're having, even if there is a bit of a detox, it's absolutely perfect. Trusting that you've received what you needed today. Thanking all of the beings of divine love and truth and integrity who were present and assisting here today. Thanking yourself for showing up here to receive this transmission and your higher self for guiding you here. Anchoring in and sealing all of these energetic shifts, activations, and changes across all dimensions of space and time, planes, realities, and levels of consciousness. Beginning to come back to your breath, back to your body. Opening your eyes when you're ready. Okay. We do have um, many beings in the field, a lot of ascended master energy in the field. Mary Magdalene. Thank you. Please take your time coming back. That was a lot. It is safe to trust love, whole body. Exhale. I feel like I know this language. What is it? Well, I don't know which component you were asking about, Rodolfo. There are a few different languages that I source from that are not human languages. Pleiadian, Lemurian, and Mintakan being the chiefest ones. But it is the language of my soul. And so, what this tells me when someone says, I feel I know this language, this is familiar to me. What this tells me is that we have similar soul history
and or similar soul coding. Maybe we came from similar locations, you know? It's common to feel that way. Oh, thank you, Hannah. I really appreciate that. I'm so glad you made it. You're welcome, Rosalie. And thank you, Maria. If anyone wants to share anything about their experience, you certainly may. If you just want to be with your own experience right now, you also certainly may. They're showing me going for a walk for some of you. I need to go for a walk after this. Like, you need to go for a walk. But I think maybe it's not just me. That will actually help things integrate and kind of calibrate. The thing with these activations that I want you to understand, this is true of my work, things will unfold over a period of days, weeks, and months, depending. So this is not a one and done. And things will still be integrating, things will still be shifting for a while, you know? So this is part of why sometimes people may not connect certain things that they occur. A lot of times people will get wise to it eventually, but people don't always connect certain things that occur with the activation that they received from me because it could be down the line, because it's almost like they're showing me a pill like a time release capsule. You know, when you take like a medicine that is like time release, well, this is time release medicine. God, why haven't I thought of it before? Why haven't I described it like that before? I don't know. This is time release medicine. So just knowing that and expecting that, take really good, gentle care of yourself for the next few days here. Huh, funny. I thought I need a walk this afternoon. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Okay. If you felt a resonance here, if you felt something awaken, activate, or shift inside of you, and you feel a resonance with me, with my voice, with my medicine, with what I do, I want to invite you in to work deeper with me. I have an incredible community of souls, the Rapid Shift Collective, some of whom are on this call right now, that I gather with twice a month. This potent medicine that's offered in this field. There are trainings on gift development and spiritual business, but there's also activations and transmissions just like this one on certain themes, and sometimes just really feeling with what the energy of the group needs. You can show up live to the call and receive what you need. And there's replays available for that. We also now have a Telegram community. So in addition to the live calls and replays, there is a space for you guys to connect and share with one another, to connect and share with me. And there's a Q&A section with me where you get to receive my channeled guidance and wisdom. And there's a wisdom drop section with me for more channeled guidance and wisdom as that flows through spontaneously for everyone. It's a really rich, and I believe it's the best way to get the most out of being in my world and working with me without investing at a much higher level. Right, so I want to invite you to check that out. I'll put the link below. And if you're interested in going deeper one-on-one with me, I have a few different options for that as well. So do reach out, just DM me about that. What I will also say is that since this came through so strongly for me, and since there seems to be a response and there does seem to be interest, and since I've been getting the knock really loudly that this is important to be bringing more focus to publicly at this time. If any of you would be interested in a bit of a short-term container, specifically diving into this theme for yourself, maybe 4 to 6 weeks long, and receiving transmissions and activations, but also able to work with me and work through how these energetics are showing up in your life, and get adjustments from me in real time about what needs to shift. and get support through that so that you can create and manifest from this place of connection to your divine power through inner union, let me know in the comments. Would you be interested in something like this? Because I'm thinking of putting something together. Okay. You're so welcome, Steffi. Oh, tech difficulties. Oh no. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry that that happened and that there's triggers present. I definitely would say come back and watch the replay. You know, sometimes with transmissions like this is important. It's like we need to receive it how and when we receive it a lot of the time, right? Because this is like big energetic stuff. And so sometimes receiving everything live isn't actually for people's highest and best interest. Like sometimes watching a replay, you will get more from that. And I trust as well that there's a reason, but I'm sorry that it's uncomfortable for you right now. Ooh, I asked because I even write with characters that I do not know. Yes, that you don't know consciously. There's written language as well as spoken language that has, it hasn't been lost, it hasn't gone anywhere, but that has been forgotten. That so many of us have access to, so many of us have access to, so many of us have access to. So that's really beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to leave it here for now. Sounds great. I would totally be an awesome. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. I'm going to leave this here for now. I'll leave the replay up as long as Facebook will have the replay up. Okay. So come back and watch as many times as you want. Once again, please do reach out to me if you're interested in deeper work. Check out the Rapid Shift Collective. I love you all so much. And I hope that you have a beautiful, restful rest of your day or night. Drink a lot of water. Okay. All right. Bye.